right. Well, hey there. My name is Tim Anderson. I'm the Unite liaison for the Pacific Northwest Conference, and I'm also the associate pastor of youth and worship at Creekside Covenant Church in Redmond, Washington. And we are really excited to be heading to Unite West 2024, as I'm sure all of you are. And today we really want to make sure that you get a sense of the steps that it's going to take to complete your fingerprint background check with the state of California, to kind of comply with all the instructions so that each of your leaders, your adult leaders, are allowed and qualified to be leaders at Unite so that they can make it to the conference and stay at the conference when they're there. This is probably the most arduous background check process that most of us have ever been in, but we want to encourage you that it is possible. And with just some intent and with some perseverance, you're going to do great and get all of your leaders signed up. And the thing you'll be worried about the most is how many steps you're going to take every day in California, and not worried about the background check process at all, because we're going to get this done together. So today we've got my good friend Dean, who is youth pastor. I don't know, Dean, introduce yourself. Tell us your title.
Yeah, I'm family ministry pastor at Faith Covenant Church in Sumner, Washington. So I think this is like my 5th Unite that I'll be going to. And yes, this is definitely the most arduous process I've ever had to go through going to a conference. So please also bear with the CIY staff. They've sent, 3 or 4 updates. I think they're still trying to get their heads wrapped around all of this too. So, but we're in it together and we're going to make it work. So
I love it. So Dean is ahead of me in this process. So I asked him to share with us what his steps have been in order to get this fingerprinting background check process completed. And so the first step is really, you need to get every leader needs to get themselves and all of their adult leaders in the group a physical hard copy of their fingerprints. So Dean, how did you go about getting that set up for your group?
So the way that I did it is I just looked up my local police department, and not every police department will do this. So you have to kind of call in advance and make sure that they actually are able to do it. Some places you can do a walk-in, other places require an appointment. So you have to do a little bit of research and figure that out. I would recommend a local police department over another independent fingerprinting place, because it was about the third of the cost to do it through the local police department. And you will go and you will get something that looks kind of like this. And I can actually show it a little bit better by sharing my screen here so that everybody can see exactly what we're talking about. So this is an FD 258. There we go. This is an FD 258 card. So this is what a blank one actually looks like. So that's what you're going to be filling out when you get to the police station.
So Dean,
but again,
I'm going to hop in here really quick. So you can go to a local police department, but there are also retail like stores that will run these like fingerprints for you in case your local police department does not do that service. Is that correct?
Correct. It was about $45. I sent one of my leaders to go do it with a third party, and it was about $45. It was $15 at my local police department. So it was a little easier that way.
And they had this FD 258 card at the police department and also at the third party location.
Yep. So your fee covers buying essentially one of these physical copies. When you complete it, they give it to you. So they don't take it and do anything with it. They give it to you once you're done with it. And all that they're going to do at the police station or this third-party fingerprinting place is basically put all of your fingerprints on the card, and all that they're going to need is for you to put your name on the card in the presence of the person who's doing it. You're going to sign it right here, and then they're going to sign it to say that, yes, or right there, they're going to sign it to say, yes, I did in fact watch Dean get his fingerprints done on this card. So that's all that's going to happen. And then the rest of the card you can fill out somewhere else. And so we'll go through that in a little bit, but there's quite a bit of details to go into some of those other lines. So
And the state of California does not accept digital fingerprints, right? And so this has to be done specifically for this trip. There's no way that we can kind of skirt around doing this process, right? Like each adult leader has to go through this process in order to become a qualified leader for Unite. That's correct.
yeah, correct. So some people may have been to Unite West previously at Biola in 2022. I don't think that this particular law in California was being enforced at that point. So it may be a little bit weird for people who are coming in and be like, wait, I didn't have to do this last time. I'm still coming out of state. Like, why are they asking me to do all this stuff? So it's a new law that CIY is having to have the conference comply with to be able to have leaders come. So that's why it's kind of a little bit, feels a little bit out of left field for some people, but
Sure.
it has to be this hard copy. It can't be a digital one like you do with like a live scan thing.
Okay, great. So once the leaders have set up their appointment and gotten all of their leaders either in an appointment with them to get fingerprinted, or their leaders go individually on their own if they can't synchronize their schedules. The main leader, collects one of these FD 258 cards per person. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So you're going to be collecting one of these FD 258 cards per person, and you're going to want to make sure that all the information on there is filled out accurately. Obviously, all of their own personal information they can do themselves, but there are some specific lines that you're going to want to make sure that it's got the right things in the right places. So some of that was a little confusing with getting 3 emails from CIY. So that's part of the reason why we're doing this, because it felt a little bit disconnected. Like, what exactly am I supposed to put where? So that's why we wanted to have this kind of visual way of going about it so everybody can kind of see line for line what we're talking about.
Okay, so why don't you walk us through what information you're putting on that card?
So yeah, so right here again, and is my screen still sharing pretty well?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yep. Yep. So right here at the top, again, you're going to put in your name when you get to the police station. The signature, your signature is going to go there. And then below that, you're just going to put your address, residence. Then they're going to sign, whoever is fingerprinting you is going to sign to say that they watched you do that. Now, the next 2 boxes below that, employer and address, and then the reason fingerprinted are important. So under employer and address, you are not going to put your church. You are going to put Christ in youth. So that's going to be the first thing you put. But then you also have to put another line that's very specific with a bunch of numbers as well. So I'm going to say that now. You're going to put the letters ORI AV 712, and then you're going to put mail code 161801. I'll say that again, ORI AV 712, mail code 161801. And then below that, you're going to put Christ and Youth's actual address, which is just 2201 North Main, Joplin, Missouri 64801. So
And
all of that has got to be fit in that tiny little box right there. So make sure that you're writing real small to get all that in.
okay.
Below that, on a reason fingerprinted, you're going to write volunteer / VCA 92072. Now, again,
Okay.
this is all stuff that's in the instructions they sent, but I think that the FD 258 card they sent out doesn't quite resemble the actual ones.
Okay.
So once you've got all that information in, you're going to make sure that they fill out all of the, sex, race, height, weight, eyes, hair, all of that stuff. So they're going to fill in all of that. They're going to fill in date of birth. It also says in older instructions, and this is something you can completely disregard if you were looking at older instructions, that they were asking you to fill out something in this FBI box. You don't have to do anything in that
Okay.
FBI box. Leave that
Great.
blank. You're actually putting
Okay.
those numbers in a different spot. In
Okay.
the ORI box, what you're going to do is you're going to put AV712.
Okay.
So this is all information that you're basically putting in there so that when it goes to California, they know essentially who they're going to be connecting all this stuff with, that it's with the Christ and Youth Conference and all of that. So once you get all that information filled out, you're going to put in your social security number. A lot of other stuff you can just leave blank for most of us. There's miscellaneous number. Don't even know what that is. Armed forces number. Many of us probably don't have that.
Sure.
Universal control. No, all those things, like you just leave it blank, basically.
Okay.
And then the bottom half of it is where all your fingerprints go. And again, they do that all at the police station.
Great.
Do
Okay.
you have any questions about that, or anything stand out to you as like a big question mark as you're filling all that out?
It seems like the most detail intensive boxes are the box that you mentioned where you have to fit all that information in again. Can you highlight that one? The one, I think at the bottom you've got the ORI number, but I think there were some other things that you had to put in there.
Yeah, so that's the employer and address box, which is
And that and our
right
so
there.
we don't put our churches in there. We
Yeah.
put Christ and Youth in that box, and
Yeah.
then that other information that you included there.
Yeah, because essentially, as a leader, it is the state of California is viewing us as a representative of the conference, not a representative of our church. So that's how they're kind of packaging all of this.
Gotcha.
So
And
that's
then
why you put Christ and Youth with all that other stuff I listed. So
great. And then the one below that you said it's volunteer slash what was it again?
V is in Victor, C is in Cat, A is in Alpha. So VCA, and then in parentheses, you're going to say 92072.
Okay. Wow.
And all of this is in the instructions that you should have received in your email. But again, I find it helpful to see exactly. So that's the reason fingerprinted is that last one. I find it helpful to have this visually.
That's great. That's super helpful there, Dean. Thank you so much. So so once you've filled out the card, and again, there are those instructions. So if that wasn't quite clear, just head back to that latest email from Ashley from CIY and check out those instructions again, those updated instructions. And we'll try to provide a link along with this video that has those most up-to-date instructions there for you to look at too. But
so this is Ashley Bozarth's email right here. So
okay.
I just wanted to make that available for everyone. So if you want to send her an email if you have any other questions, feel free to do that.
Yeah, what's her email?
It is Ashley Bozarth. You see that right there when I pop it up? Are you seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing that.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a new share, and I'm gonna share this one. There we go.
Oh,
You
perfect.
see that now?
Yep. Yes.
Ashley Bozarth, Ashley.Bozarth at CIY.com. So she's kind of been the rep for our conference who's been sending out updates.
Awesome. So that's the person to ask questions of, and please reach out to her. And an encouragement that we've got for you, and I think Dean did a really good job of this as he was sharing you did a great job of this, Dean, sharing about your process, is that you got in contact with her and made sure you got it all right before you packed it up and shipped it off, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that was, and again, as I was seeing a lot of this stuff come in, I started sending out additional questions because some of the stuff the instructions were changing. And so I wanted to make sure that I had it all correct, because obviously you don't want to go through a process like this multiple times, especially if it's going to involve money. So,
right. So once you have all of the forms, you've collected the forms, you've filled them out, you've had your leaders fill out their information that they're supposed to, and then you fill out the rest that is specific for this actual conference. Then you package it all together and you put it in an envelope that won't bend. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. An FD-258 card should not be bent. So you can't just like fold it up like a trifold letter and stick it in an envelope. It needs to be flat, unbent. So I would recommend you could do like a manila envelope, but I'm going to do like a cardboard mailer, one of those ones you can just get at a post office. It'll say do not bend on it. And then that just ensures that it's going to get there safely. So you're already forking out, if you think about it this way, you're already forking out, $15 for fingerprinting, more money for, all this to get processed by California. You might as well send it in a way that it's going to be safe. So even if that costs you, a few more dollars than just a stamp, it's kind of worth it. So
Worth it. Yeah. Why don't you stop your screen sharing and you can kind of show us how you're planning on packaging that up. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
well, let me do a new share and I can show
Oh, perfect.
the transmittal form. So one of the things that they just sent out, it was a couple weeks ago, is they said number of applicants. You're just going to put in the number of people. It's going to be in this top box here. It says employment. This part right here. Let me see if I can just highlight that. So state level, federal level volunteer. This is the area where you're going to be filling stuff in. So what you're going to do is you're going to put number of applicants and you're going to put that on state level and also federal level volunteer. So it would look something like this. So
That's if you've got two people on your team. So if you have
exactly
five
two people on
people,
your team.
that'd be
Say you
five
got
or
10 people on
three.
your team.
Yeah, sure.
You're
Right.
going to put 10 in.
Right. Gotcha.
Then you're going to come over here and you're going to put the total due. So
Okay.
the only amount that you have to put is right here. So if I've got 10 people on my team, that's 10 times 15, it's $150. Now right here, that would obviously work out to be a lot more, but no matter how many people, you're going to write this fee exempt.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
they said on this one, the state level, they said you can just write fee exempt. Again, that's in one of the most recent updates they sent out. So if you're reading an older email, you might feel like, wait, is that right? But again, the most recent one they said says that for each liter, then you're saving $32. So that's
That's
pretty good.
great. That's huge.
So and let me just go back and I'm just going to quickly
So do you send that in with your cards?
yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to send in this form with your cards.
Do you have
You
to
can
sign
just send,
it or anything or?
yeah. So at the bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to come all the way down here. You're going
Yeah.
to put in your total again. So in this case, for somebody with 10 liters, you're going to put $150. You're going to leave this number of reprints thing blank. Don't even touch that. And then you're
Okay.
going to put your name. So here you would just, I'm going to put my name personally, and then my address, my home address. I don't think it really matters. And then authorized signature because that's going to be, again, that's going to be your authorized signature. This is basically all just to say, hey, Department of Justice, here's all of these fingerprint cards. Please process them. Here's the money to process them, etc. So that's really all they need is they need to know how much money is in this envelope and how many are you asking for.
And then it says here, attach a list of names for backup. What does that mean?
Yeah, so that's another good question. As far as I understand, from everything that I've seen in the instructions, it's kind of one of the things here that it's listed, but in everything that I've seen from CIY, it doesn't have any information about needing to do that. So I'm just going to quickly go over the latest information they sent out. And yeah, so all it says in the information from CIY is you're going to gather up all those forms, your FD-258s, you're going to put it with the transmittal form. You're going to mark state level check and federal level check. Again, you're only going to put in the fee on the federal level volunteer.
Okay.
And then you're going to send it all to California Department of Justice pre-scan unit K11, which is all right here at the bottom, mail to. So that's what you're going to address all of this to once it all gets in one big mailer together. And then at the bottom, it says, if your fingerprinting agency won't mail the form. Okay, so we ignore all that. So then what we're going to do is the next thing is you just need to send your legal name and your birth date, it says, to Ashley Bozarth at CIY.com. So then it says wait. Typically, it's going to be about 10 business days, whether or not the fingerprints have been accepted. So again, that little line at the bottom, then it says attach a list of names for backup. It sounds like that name, instead of sending it to any sending it to the California Department of Justice, you're going to be sending it instead to Ashley. So that's going to be kind of how that works there.
So basically, you just included the cards with the transmittal form and the check
Yep.
for the total due to cover that, and then you're going to send that in. And are you sending that in like certified or anything like that?
So I'm probably going to send it in certified. I want to make sure that there's a tracking number, number one, and number two, obviously, again, in that cardboard mailer, so it's not going to get bent at all, because you're not going to want to have to go through this process again. I guarantee that. So, and you're also going to need then to send your payment in with that form. So if you're saying you need to send $150 in, you're going to send a check for $150. So I just went and talked to my, church treasurer and, got him to cut a check for the exact amount we need, and that's going to go in the envelope that goes out.
So let me that's awesome. So, and then once you do that, then you send an email to Ashley Bozarth and say, hey, I've finished this process, and please keep an eye out for our approvals for our background checks.
Yep, exactly. And so it says that all you're supposed to do, according to the instructions from CIY, is once you've completed that process, all you have to do is send your legal name and birth date to Ashley Bozarth. So if there's anything, again, if they need anything else or something like that, or if they have any questions about any of your leaders, I'm sure she'll reach out. But it should just be the main person who is, in this case, myself, who's sending this in to California Department of Justice.
So let me just do a little recap. The first thing that leaders need to do is schedule that appointment. They also need to make sure that they've got their funds covered from their church. However they plan on paying for it, they need to budget for that and plan for those payments. Then they need to get to the appointments and get their adult leaders to the appointments. They get fingerprinted. They fill all the forms out together. They fill out the transmittal form. They get their check. They package all of that up in an envelope or some kind of container that won't get bent.
And then you're going to send it into the California Department of Justice, the address that's right there on the bottom of the transmittal form.
And then you let Ashley Bozarth, you send in your names and your birth dates of the people who are applying for the background check.
Yeah, and I think it's actually just the name, the one name, because you're only going to put one name at the bottom of the transmittal form.
Oh,
so I think it's just your legal name and birth date is all that you need to send in. You can include everybody if you want, just in case. I might do that just in case, but as far as I'm aware, it's just the one person that you're supposed to send in. So that's the way I read the instructions, basically. So yeah, and the last thing too is after all this is said and done, you're still not out of the woods yet. You still have to make sure you have all your leaders go through the abuse prevention training as well, which again, that's like a 2-hour video. There's nothing you have to send in about that. I already emailed Ashley about that, and she said all you have to do is have leaders do it before they leave for Unite, and then you just sign something that says, "Yep, all my leaders did it." So it's that simple. So it's going to be night and day compared to what you have to do for the fingerprinting process, but you just have to be aware that that's something that leaders do need to do as well.
Awesome. And then so leaders need to get this done within the next all these steps need to get taken care of within the next week and a half, so that you can mail in your completed cards with the transmittal form to the Department of Justice in California within 3 weeks. Up to 3 weeks in advance of Unite. And Unite is it's about a month and a week away, maybe a month and like 10 days or something like that. So we're really close to the event. And in order for all of our leaders to get down there safely with their groups, We need to make sure that all of our leaders have this fingerprinting process done. All right, well, hey, Dean, thank you so much. We don't want to take up any more time, but man, what a gift this was to me, and it'll be to so many leaders who are coming out of state to California for Unite West. So thank you, man.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good one.
God bless.